It has been the talk of the sim racing town for as long as I've been a commentator, and for its ability to deliver phenomenal multi-class racing and moments on track that you won't soon forget. With that being said, I am so excited to welcome you back to the multi-sprint series for its 4th season here on RCI. And what a circuit to begin our 6-round championship. We're nestled in Northamptonshire in the UK, and this is the newest circuit to be released in LMU. We have one of the most famous Grand Prix circuits on the planet. Welcome to Silverstone and its 3.66 mile, 18 corner ribbon of tarmac that holds an immense amount of pedigree and an equal amount of racing history. Wagwan to the Mandem. It's your boy, Jack Mays, joined in the box by the legend, Jesse Lee. And on the cameras, we have the sensational Ted Edwards. Jesse, I'm so excited to be back on LMU, and I'm so excited that your timing was utterly impeccable, and I think we're ready to get this season underway. Are you ready for some epic racing?
Welcome, everybody, back to LMU Fridays. It is going to be an absolutely electric season, 2 splits full of multi-class racing. It's great to be back. It's great to be back in Old Blighty as well, the newest track, at least for this week, that has been added to LMU as well on full display for everyone. Might be their first time, Jack, in anger, turning wheels around this place too.
I think you might be right. Speaking to some of the drivers beforehand, a lot of them are like, well, things are going to go the way they're going to go. But I still think everyone's excited. This is a great circuit. It's a circuit that lends itself to be fun to drive in just about everything. I mean, it's probably known most prominently for Formula One, but I mean, you have ELMS, you have SRO, you have basically every known car that has ridden the circuit over its many years of history. And even in the modern era, just about everything turns itself in anger around this circuit at some point. But right now, it's just the GT3s because we have our split qualifying. 10 minutes for the GT3s, 10 minutes for the hypercars. We do apologize. We were a little bit late in getting the stream started. Of course, in the 11th hour, we had a few tech issues, but everything's running smooth. Everything's running great now. And these are going to be the final laps for these GT3 cars at the moment. We have Jones on pole in the Porsche, followed by Smith Adams also in a Porsche, chasing just behind on the front row. And you can see already the hypercars lining up in the pit lane, all getting very impatient. 7 seconds left for them to rush out onto the circuit. I love seeing that.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do. I always love doing that in LMU. I want to be the first one out of the garage. I want to be the first one sitting at the stoplight at the end of pit road. I want to have the clearest possible track that I can do. And sometimes we'll run into racetracks. We've seen this with LMU before, where nobody's bothered about going out first. And other times it's like an absolute land rush, them wanting to go out there as quick as possible. In here of GT3 qualifying, looks like Jones on the pole over Smith, Adams, Vermack in third, Cowley, Wilkinson not inside the top five, as Dipolito has just taken over the P5 spot in the waning moments of LMGT3 quality.
Yeah, there's just this final lap. It is a little bit gray out on the circuit, but I'm sure there's just enough temperature for these tires to be fully fired up. And they don't have any more time to fully fire them up, as the last couple of cars to cross the line. Matt Townsend here going around the final corner has done personal best in both sectors. We'll see where that can jump him up. It actually jumps him up to 5th position, so a pretty solid jump from about 14th all the way up there. And that may be our final GT3 car in GT3 qualifying, and it seems to have been. And we will give you that order once we've completed hypercar qualifying. And I'm ready for hypercar qualifying. I've been so unbelievably in love with these cars in this sim. It seems the best moments come from the fastest cars. And right now we're on board with Louis Curtin, a driver that we know will be lighting up the times in a new car. I believe last season it was a Ferrari for Louis Curtin. It's now switched to the BMW, which is the favorite car across this sim. It is very quick. It is very fantastic to drive, and we'll see how it can fare against some of the other hypercars here. And as a reminder, that is in fact turn one. I know that's cops. It's the alternate pit exits for the sports cars that they get. They start with turn one being cops. So it's the same circuit, the same Grand Prix layout, but the track numbers, the turn numbers are just a little bit different.
Yeah, the way I've always explained that to people, Jack, is if you're familiar with Formula One and that's all you see run around the Silverstone circuit, that will look a bit strange. But anyone who's ever watched a GT race will know that it's the GT pit lane coming out of Woodcote, and down into Cops is the GT pit lane. We do not use the Formula One pit lane here. Left field, of course, is, in my opinion, one of the best last corners in all of motorsport, though technically isn't the last corner here on the GT track at Silverstone, but I digress. It's the last corner that actually poses any real threat. Just absolutely brilliant weather we're having here. Very British indeed, I would have to say. Nothing coming from the sky as of right now, and we're not necessarily expecting any weather, just a very gloomy British day. I'm not doing the tourism board any favors with that. One other thing I think, Jack, we need to point out is you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen, a lot of the cars do not have the manufacturer mark on them. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, that is because they're using custom liveries, and that
exactly
removes, yeah, that removes that. So a lot of custom liveries, potentially the most custom liveries we have ever seen in an LMU grid.
Yeah, and I'm just such a massive fan about that. I'm a big fan of the tools, the livery making tools. I've dabbled myself. One of my liveries is turning in anger, but not in split one. It's in split two, GT3 field. And I was requested to make a livery, and it's so much fun. I enjoy it. It's cool seeing, something you just threw on the car, whether it's serious, whether it's a joke. It's great to see, and I'm glad that people are making use of that. However, as Mark Badowski's showing us, it is still good to see some manufacturers' logos. I mean, the Porsche Penske is an icon of the sport, quite honestly, especially of the modern era, especially in IMSA. So us Americans, Jesse, we know this car. It's bit dominant, but we'll see how it fares in this season, as we see Louis Kinder, who's actually secretly Louis Curtin, going ahead. The French sim racer I see on the big tail of that BMW is currently just blitzing this circuit. I said right at the beginning that he might do, and it seems I haven't cursed them already, so that's a good start indeed. But yeah, the times are going to continue to drop in these final 5 minutes of qualifying, And I can already say with certainty, given the amount of traffic, I think it was when we were on board with Ryan Gill, it looked like these guys were already racing,
Ooh.
and Louis Curtin just a little bit wide there. I'm going to be honest, not 100% sure. That might have been Vale, perhaps. It's kind of hard to tell with this helicam. Not the most familiar with this circuit in LMU just far. Nope, that is not Vale. That is, in fact, Brooklands that he went a bit deep on. And he's getting ready to start a brand new lap. Car briefly just sort of sitting there at the exit of Cops, maybe wanting to get going, maybe finish their laps, maybe ran out of fuel. But we'll see. Ryan Gill next to cross the line. He's a bit off pace. It's interesting that it's showing purple sectors for a lot of cars. Ignore that. I like to call that just LMU things. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of just LMU things here for us. But my favorite just LMU thing is the racing. It's so good. It's so fantastic in the sim. And 4 more minutes, and I will get to live out my dreams of seeing these cars in anger, wheel to wheel. But it is good to see. These are the fastest these cars will go here, Jesse. Well, arguably, I'd be really impressed if someone could beat their qualifying time in the race. But, you know, could be done. If anybody can do it, it's some of these drivers that we have here today.
Barnabas there was getting a out of the way in a major way. I think that was down near Club, in fact, where he was blue flagged and decided to completely leave the circuit. That is, of course, not required, but is the safest way to do it. Van de Voken on provisional pole, a 42.390. Fours are wild. 3 ducks in a row right there for Louis Curtin in P2. Third place, nearly half a second off the pace. Van Driesch in 4th place. Barnabas Faiskas, who I just mentioned, here we are on board with them, that got completely out of the way. They are in 5th place. Octane Daily, the list goes on. Familiar faces. One familiar face out of place. You touched on him earlier. Ryan Gill, not where you would expect them to be, in 11th place. And I believe that's Klaus Nyring, who just immediately shut me up and jumped inside the top 10. But I was going to say, Klaus Nyring, not where you'd expect. And Christopher Strepe, not where you would expect them to be as well, in P9. And a couple of cars have not come out yet, Jack. Besley and O'Sullivan have yet to come out, and that leads me to believe potentially they are not on the grid this week.
Yeah, I think you might be right on the money. LMU, part of it's just LMU thing. Something that happens is it pulls the registration list off of SimGrid and populates the pit garages. So it shows that everybody's here, whether or not they actually show up at all. But if we're 13 hypercars strong, that's a pretty solid showing. And I think it is worth mentioning again and reminding everybody that this isn't the only split. We actually have split 2 running simultaneously. We had so many signups this time around that we had to open another split. And that split, the split 2, completely full as well. So who knows, maybe next time around there's going to need to be a split 3. I have no idea, but I am keeping one eye on that split 2. I do have the timings in front of me, and I will probably, that's a bit wide. That might be a bit
I think that's okay.
That might have been okay. I know the time did just sectors did just disappear. I think that's not okay, but I will inform everybody on the qualifying order a little bit from the split 2 before we get going. And it's looking like a right fight up there in split 2, and it's looking like a right fight here in split 1. Only half a second between the top 3 cars, and I gotta say, it's good to see Christopher Strapen in a hypercar. Seems to be, you say he's not maybe where we're used to seeing him, but I know him as a monster in the GT3 category.
Sure.
And I think he's good and happy and done with those tires, because he won't be using those anymore. But Christopher Strapen, and I think he's really the only guy that I see on the grid right now that's might be his first sort of outing, other than Jordan Daly, but he's still getting to grips with this sim as a whole. So it's good to see LMU bringing new people onto the sim. And
yeah, you talk about Vestepa. I haven't seen them in LMU since before it was officially released. So, and that could just be that I've not been in the commentary box for a lot of the LMU over the summer and the fall. But Vestepa, though, may be making his return here today, certainly in this season. John Gray, one of the last cars, potentially the final car on a timed lap, looking to do a little bit more damage down in 13th place, the slowest of the qualifiers thus far, would need to pick up a considerable amount, nearly three-quarters of a second, but will not do that. They will return to the pit lane, and that will conclude qualifying. Van de Voken on pole position in hypercar.
Yeah, it feels like the I mean, it felt like that qualifying session was over before we knew it, but I think part of that was because it was just a little bit shorter than it normally feels. Wasn't that full 20 minutes, but we'll see any second when our qualifying results come up. We're going to start with the hypercar category. As you said, Jesse, Milan van der Veken is on the pole. Louis Curtin rounds out the top row. Eduardo Giacomi in third position. Zina Van Trisha fourth. Barnamas Fazekas in fifth position. Jordan Daly in sixth on his debut. Billy Octane in seventh position. Klaus Nyring wrestling the often troublesome Alpine into eighth position. Christopher Strapen in ninth, and Ryan Gill rounds out the top 10. And our final three cars is Adusa Carpenter, Marco Dabowski, and John Gray. Those are our 13 hypercar starters in round one here at Silverstone. And now for our GT3 finisher, well, not finishers, qualifiers. Chase Jones is on the pole with Nate Smith Adams closely behind. Zach Vermaak is in third position. James Cowley in fourth. Matt Townsend, fifth position. Fulvio DiPolito in sixth. Reese Wilkinson, seventh. Jordan Navarro, eighth. Jacob Janowski in ninth. And Martin Lawrence in 10th position. In
Talk about
Alexis. I
drivers
love
out of
Alexis.
position. Martin Lawrence in 10th place.
That is, knowing what we know about the Porsche Cup and how that's going, that is a bit strange to see for sure, Jesse. We have Tom Watts in 11th, Wojtel Rybecki in 12th. In 13th position, we have Angela Scotti, Tom Shipston in 14th, and Lily Armstrong in 15th. Another driver outside of position starting at the
Oh,
back of the field for today. Maybe a
yeah,
last to first. Maybe it was a little
that
intentional. Who knows?
that's what Armstrong was complaining about. I saw a offline transmission from Lily earlier, and I was confused what the complaint was, but now I think I understand. Mike Redford also complaining about their late arrival costing them today as well. We are reading the chat as per usual as the starting order goes across your screen. Just mention that Mike Redford something to do with the start time or his arrival, throwing a wrench in the works there a little bit. Uh, Jacomi using a different steering wheel than Kirton, despite being in the same car. That's
I have a
interesting if
theory.
you've picked that up. Could it be because one's a factory team and one is not? One is a customer team.
So my theory is you can elect when you're creating a livery whether you want to do the 2025 or the 2024 car. And I
Mm.
actually, when I do GT3 cars, I do the 2024 because it doesn't have that weird sort of LED screen thing there. And I'm wondering if that's
Technical
a
term.
similar decision. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's the thing that shows what position they're in, and you can see on some of these
Position
liveries
indicators, sure.
just but see, that's a better word for it, and you could see on some of those cars, like the Lexus right in front of you, behind the LMG T3, it's that little screen thingy, as I'm a professional, and that's what professionals call it. And I think that some of the drivers, when they did their livery, either they accidentally selected the 2024 car, or that was intentional by choice. It's the same car essentially. I think it might. Could it be slightly slower? Who knows? I don't. I'm a professional. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it was a decision when they created the livery and they ended up taking the 2024 car. And while we're rounding out the start order in this race, we have about a minute before they start in their short formation. I will mention the top three in each class in split two. We have Craig Starkey on the pole in hypercar, Nicholas Keller in second, and Callum Kerrigan starting in third position in the hypercars. Joe Dauber is on the pole in GT3s, Luca Rubin Ryu in second, and Emo Plate in third. And I will keep an eye on that race and update accordingly But I almost wish we could watch both races simultaneously. That would
I
be
will say this,
great.
that you mentioned how they're gonna start in split two. We just mentioned that we don't really have the usual suspects other than Van der Voken up in front of Hypercar. That is the usual suspects in split two. That's who I would have probably have guessed. So completely different. I love it, Jack, when we get these two splits going. It happens ever so often where one split is chaotic, one split's really calm, or one split is just you can't, you know, judge what's going on at any given time. And the other split is more by the numbers. And I wonder if split two is going to be the more by the numbers split today. Just about getting ready to go, coming down the straight at pace speed. Two different classes here, Hypercar and LMGT3. Jack, getting it clean getaway here at Silverstone is going to be imperative, not only to the race, but to the championship.
Yeah, I think it's something that'll set the tone for your championship, your bid for doing well here. And turn one being Pops, it's all about being just that right amount of careful. Because if you get it wrong, it could be race ending. If you maybe get hit or hit somebody else, it could be over. I've just realized, is that a Ferrari starting? Or sorry, not a Ferrari. Is that a Lamborghini starting in third position? I love seeing that. One of those few, maybe a bit, I wouldn't say underrated. I think it's rated appropriately. But one of those hypercars that you don't see very often. It's great to see that starting towards the front. We'll see how it goes in the race. It's green flagging. Good start. Speaking of the Lamborghini, trying to squeeze through a very good start for Vaselli on the outside. We'll see how it goes through Cops. Everyone's taking it a bit easy. Lots of two wide action as we're going to head down to the Maggots and Beckett's complex, but very clean start from the hypercar field. We'll see now how Christopher Strapen does in the mid-pack. He's already up a couple of positions. That's two cars off. That's the Lamborghini. God, no! But hopefully they can get that restarted and back going. It seems that they have done. I wonder what happened to Van Triesche there. He must have gotten tapped or had a little bit of contact. I saw BMW go off just as well. But now we're heading down towards Stowe Corner. We'll see if Zeno can try it around the outside of Gray. He's thinking about it, gets a little bit of a wiggle on the exit, but we can see ahead. Milan van der Weyken has sort of ran away with it on this first lap, but things are feisty in the hypercar field. A mostly clean start here, Jesse Lee.
Yeah, I wonder if Van der Esch got onto the curb. It is possible to loop the car if you get too hard on the curb with the air pressure not being where it should be, or maybe he did get a tap that sent him off. It's just very strange to get sent off in that direction if you don't do it yourself, but neither makes no difference. 13th is Van der Esch in the hypercar class. Van der Voken up in front to Giacomelli in second place, and I always say Olivier. It's not. It's Louis Kierton in fourth place, and Billy Octane in fifth, who was in our chat earlier. Love you too, buddy, if you watch this back on repeat. The Strepa up to sixth. That's more like it, and we look into the LMGT3 field, who have also had quite a spirited start. Jones continues to lead over Vermac, but the fight well and truly on in the middle. Look at this huge blocking maneuver. Angela Scotti puts a huge block, says you shall not pass, but rather unfortunately two cars do get through, Scotti included. Martin Lawrence was the one with the block there on Scotti, but didn't work out to their benefit one iota. Scotti now leads this group.
Yeah, I think it's going to be up to, you sort of have to tiptoe through Luffield, and once you get through it, you can really power down through Woodcut. As you were saying, Jesse, it's such a good final corner. It is essentially the final corner for this circuit. We can see Martin Lawrence a bit under pressure coming out of Cops. We'll see if, not 100% sure who that is just behind them. They're maybe going to think about it through Maggots and Beckett's. Are they going to try the long way around? It becomes the inside. They're even on the brakes. We'll see the circuit then does start to head the different direction. That's Lily Armstrong there. Thank you, Ted. And Lily Armstrong went for the move too wide all the way through Maggots and Beckett's. Lily Armstrong now does have that inside line for Stowe Corner. We'll see where these two cars ends up. Tom Shipston looking for maybe a bit of an opportunistic move. Maybe these drivers make a mistake. Maybe we could grab 1-2 position, but Tom Shipston, best seat in the house for a fight like this. Lily Armstrong does get the move done so far. Martin Lawrence, bit of a struggle so far in the Lexus. Lexus is known for being quite strong in this sim, but I don't know how good it is around Silverstone because, quite honestly, this is the first time I've seen GT cars hit this circuit. And back we go to the hypercar field, the Lamborghini of Zino Van Triesche there, still struggling down in 13th after that early mistake. And I think we're going to drop back to the race start, see maybe what went wrong
Ted
in
wants
Maggots
to
and
know.
Buckets.
Ted wants
Ted
to know
wants
as
to
bad as
know.
I want to know
I
what
was going to say, I
happened
want to
to
know
Van Triesche.
equally.
Let's see. So
Here.
this is the initial start. He's going to be on the inside, but when you come back over, it is possible to hit this curb up here and it all go wrong. Nope. This is at. Oh no.
Oh!
Yep. So that okay. So it was the bobble when the asphalt there's like a little buckle there or a little rise, if you will, and that's what unsettled him. So it wasn't the curb per se, but it was Solo going off. Louis Kirton also went off the racetrack in front of them, but had a less dramatic time of it. We're going to ride on board with Zeno here. A little bit of contact there, but it's this right here where that asphalt changes new to old, sort of buckled up, does a 360 no scope like it's 2007. Get your Doritos and Mountain Dew out for Zeno Van Driesche.
Yeah, and there's really not a whole lot he could have done there. He sort of got bounced off just a little bit by Klaus Neiring there. Not really saying either driver's at fault. It just, it pushed him on a path, and he thought, all right, it's better to sort of, cut this corner, take it easy, than try to cause another incident. And lo and behold, he went airborne briefly, and these cars, they might have enough aero that if they were flipped upside down, they could fly, but they are not designed to fly quite like that. But a bit of a heartbreak of a start there for the Lamborghini driver. But there's still all to play for. We do have...
my goodness. That was like a single car incident as well. Just losing it there, trying to push, and it's a long skid into the Armco. Oh my goodness. Voce Becky. Let's see, where's it go wrong here, Jack? Is it just getting the car unsettled?
It's on the curb. He hits that curb, that front wheel, and I think it unsettles the car. It maybe starts to go around just before then, but that curb for sure settles it. Because there's the black and white you can see, and then there's the orange taller curbs there. He definitely hits it, and that's sort of surprising how much it kicks the rear around, considering he hit it with the front tires. But that's a tough one. I guess the only silver lining is he hit that wall pretty square, so it's probably only front aero damage. Maybe not suspension as well, so hopefully we're able to keep that going. We do now have a fight on our hands. BMW on BMW for second position. This is Eduardo Giacomi versus Louis Kirton here. They're heading through the end of the second sector, which would be the beginning of the Formula One lap. But no, and as I'm hearing from Ted in my ear, Kirton did overtake him, and you are absolutely right. So this is this is Giacomi perhaps trying to get back through, but yeah, Louis Kirton was. Ooh, hold on. Did he do it into club? He may have done. We'll see, because they're going through Stowe now, heading down towards the Vale chicane. Louis Kirton on the outside, really coughed on the brakes.
I'm sorry.
Goes a bit, keeps it on. What? That was I don't see how you pull that off. I don't understand that even a little bit.
Louis Kirton, that was absolute filthy. Do we have to censor that?
I think that might have been considered at least soft pornography there. That was disgusting.
Around the outside?
Yeah, because he goes a bit deep, and you'd think, all right, moves over. But no, he's got it perfectly right. He can swing back on the right-hander towards club, and they're still too wide here. But because he's on the inside heading onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, he's got the move done. That was absolutely brilliant driving there from both drivers, and a brilliant move from Louis Kirton.
That was absolutely insane. I thought, oh, he must have crossed him over surely. No, just went down the outside, kept at least a car's length in there, and got the job done. And that is why you have Louis Kirton over into P2. 2 over Giacomi in third place. Meanwhile, the fight in LMGT3 continues. A little argy-bargy here. Tom Watts continuing to fight, trying to get up the inside of, I think that's Jakowski there, or Janowski, yeah, that they are fighting Jacob Janowski. They're fighting, and they have not been able to pull that off. Watts has to fall back in line, and they will give it another go. Navarro in front of them drives away. Dipolito continues in front of them, but Jacob Janowski continues in ninth place. Oh, crash in front. Navarro off the racetrack and back onto the racetrack. A huge pirouette, 1-2 spins, and he's going to make it all the way to the tire pack, and that's going to be damaged. Something has gone wrong for Jordan Navarro, obviously, and I don't mean just the spin. I think something else led to that incident.
I'm not really sure. I mean, it could have been maybe a bit of a mistake, but I think I saw it there. It started to go around at the beginning of Maggots there. I think similar to the what we just saw a couple of laps ago. It gets maybe a little bit unsettled on the rear. Yep, bit unsettled. Tries to catch the car, and something that happens very often in LMU when you try to rescue a car from that level of spin is it just swaps ends the other direction. I'm just I'm happy that Navarro didn't come back onto the circuit and take out anybody else, because that could have been bad. It wouldn't have been their fault. Once you're already spinning like that, you can't really control where the car is going. But fortunately, an off all to themselves. But unfortunately, the first DNF of this race, the first DNF of the season, and hopefully for Jordan Navarro, the last. As we see Smith Adams. Yep, little bit of touchy.
Hold on a minute. Ted Edwards just said sniff. That is not a sniff. That was
contact.
Chrome. That was a chrome horn.
That was a grope.
Is what that is. All right, Nate Smith Adams continues in third place. It was unmoved was Vermac from the contact, and I will say, in lesser sims, Jack, you and I both know this, that would have been a crash, but because of the net code, I believe one of the iRacing, one of the LMU devs just said this week that they have what they consider class-leading net code, and I think you just saw it right there. That was a huge bump in a loaded corner, and just like in real life, nothing happened. It was just it sent the car in front ahead a little bit, and may have caused a little bit of damage, which is what I would be more upset with. But class-leading net code, says the LMU devs, potentially the case displayed right there. Huge bobble right there. Huge bobble, and we're getting into GT3 traffic as some of the hyper cars go through, and they're still side by side.
Oh, that was really well done by Badowski there. They're reaching the back of a slow-moving LMGT3. Badowski senses that the car ahead was going to slow down, but the fight's not over. Into Stoke Corner, it's a little bit of a touch. There's that class-leading net code yet again. Things are all popping off. They're 3 wide, just about, heading down to the Vale chicane. We'll see who's better on the brakes. That's the Lamborghini through the inside. John Gray in the background, maybe hoping to make up some position. Jumping square over that exit curb, managing to keep the car. No, he's off in the gravel.
No,
Can he keep it going? Oh, he didn't lose it. He didn't lose it. That was incredible car control from John Gray there, not to lose the car, but those tires are going to be a bit warm and a bit unhappy. But, oh, that was super, super great stuff from all of our drivers.
I can't believe a couple things. One, that was saved, and number two, this battle is still going on in amongst everyone else. Huge hit of the curb, and this is the thing. This is what I was talking about. Is the curbs around here are absolutely lethal in pretty much any car. These anti-cut curves, but John Gray able to save that car somehow. I thought for sure once they got into the dirt. Look at this around the outside. Well, I thought Badowski had this signed, sealed, and delivered, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't all that simple. He still was contested, but this is a brave move through here.
He sees the space. He just goes for it, but I think he gets a bit deep on the brakes. We're gonna see because the line gets squared up. The outside's given. It's about an equal exit, but it's just enough. So
Van
that
Dries comes back.
yeah, Zeno Van Triesche comes back as well. But yeah, I think that was Ryan Gill who was in the other Porsche. Am I correct? Am I incorrect? I'm not 100% sure. Or that might actually no. That's Carpenter in the other.
Oh!
Oh,
Oh!
big hit!
Was that Angela Scotti? I think that might
I
have been Angela Scotti that just
oh
got contacted off the circuit.
oh I think it was, but fortunately this time Zeno Van Triesche gets off mostly scot free. But Scotty did not. That was a bit of a brutal moment there. That's that's multi-class. These are things that happen, and we'll see the replay here by Ted Edwards. Oh, was it Badowski? I think maybe misjudged it. See if we can get a better view. We're on board now with Zeno Van Triesche. Now on Badowski. Oh, it's just he got boxed out. Badowski got boxed out by Zeno Van Triesche. Van Triesche using that GT3 to say, "Hey, I can accelerate, but you can't." Badowski misjudges it barely. Oh, and it's all over for Angela Scotti there. You can see just pirouetting balletically in the grass. But no real wrongdoing there from Scotty, but out of
Oh,
nowhere.
just get Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal
That
to see from the onboard.
well, Mikhail Sundstrom's joined us in chat and asked, "Is there floor damage in LMU?" I'm quite certain there is. You can damage the floor in just about everything. If you high center the car, if you smack your splitter or the diffuser into it, you can also damage that. So that, again, excellent question by Mikhail Sundstrom. So whenever you see these cars hitting the anti-cuts, it's not academic. It's not just, oh, ride it and drive away. They could be potentially doing significant damage to the underside, to the aero of the car, either on the front, the underside, or the back end. It just rather depends on how they've hit it and how the sim decides to adjudicate that for itself. So yeah, that is simulated in LMU. I've had it go my way and I've had it go against me, I will say, with my time in LMU personally. But
Isn't it always that way? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
I've
LMU, there's
absolutely
certain. No,
I was just going to say, I've absolutely smacked a curb and got away with it, and I've barely touched them before, and
Everything
got
falls off.
significant damage. Yeah.
Yeah. It do be like that sometimes. As Ted Edwards says something that I can't say on stream.
Yeah.
But
He
something
sure
else
did.
I was about to say is that LMU, this level of simulation for damage is super impressive. I learned the other week that bumper damage can impact your radiator's ability to cool, whether that's the radiator for the oil or for the water in the car. It's actually simulated as we see a Porsche, the Hertz Porsche, weaving its way through the GT3 leaders. Very well judged there through the final sector. But it's so impressive to think about, oh, I bumped my radiator, and you gotta pay attention to those temperatures. If it's enough, if maybe you've taped up the radiator just a bit with your setup, it's something to know, and it's something that can lead to engine failure. And that's just super, super impressive work by the sim. And one of the reasons that I think one of the contributing factors to why people love it so much, and just besides the racing, it's absolutely epic. And speaking of, this is our GT3 leader right now, Chase Jones, with Vermaak and Smith Adams right in the background. This fight's sort of been it's been a bit sedate. No positions have really been swapped just yet, but it's so close, and it can go anyone's way at any point. Seeing Smith Adams maybe thinking about it into the Vale chicane, seeming to be a
Look
move.
how much rear brake is that. If that's realistic by Nate Smith Adams, that is a huge amount of rear brake in that Porsche.
Yeah, you could be right. You could absolutely be honest that may be a setup thing. I mean, these Porsches are famously rear engine, as Fulvia Di Polito gets overtaken there briefly by the McLaren. Reese Wilkinson is the one in that McLaren. That was a very clean move coming out of Luffield there, and Reese, I think maybe the sole McLaren driver. That's one of the cars that in the GT3 field that doesn't get fielded all that often. It is one of the few cars, if you don't have the DLC, you get to drive in the GT3 field, but it's sort of middle of the road is how it seems. But Reese Wilkinson right now wringing the neck and it going pretty darn well for him at the moment. Just a quick update on our split two race. Sort of been keeping one eye on it. The lead for the hypercar field has changed at least 4 times. Martin Mares is our current leader with Nicholas Keller in third, and Kevin Boss is currently in third position. Joe Dauber still leads the GT3 field. Luca Riben Ryu in second, and Emo Plate in third. It seems that the GT3 field hasn't shifted at all at the front, but I know for a fact it has been shifting in the mid pack. There's already a couple of DNFs there in that race, but things are heating up in split 2. Things are heating up in split 1. I think it's fair to say things are just plain heating up if they aren't already scalding hot.
Yep, you said it, partner. Van de Voken continues to lead. It's a 2.5-second lead over Louis Kierton, and in the Giacomi in third place now, running a distant third, has lost 2 to 3 seconds. You can see the tire selection of all the drivers in the hypercar class. A couple of mixed tire choices, which you can do in LMU. Van Driesch is on a hard medium compound along with Badowski. Gray has gone for full hards here, and that will likely factor into their sort of pit strategy. Of course, none of these cars can make it the full 1 hour, 20 minutes without doing a pit stop. There's not a pit stop requirement per se. There's just a natural limitation of the fuel tanks and the virtual energy. Of course, both Hypercar and LMGT3, both with that virtual energy system that they have to sort of babysit for the BOP. In the LMGT3 field, things pretty much similar to how they are in the hypercar class. The top two separated by just about the same amount indeed. But hypercar, you talked about it being red hot. They've not had a moment to calm down, especially you get into a group like this. Klaus Neiring in the Alpine trying to figure out how they're going to get around 2 BMWs immediately in front of them. That's Billy Octane and Jordan Daly. 2 drivers, 2 cars that, well, I'd rather do a maths exam than try to have to figure out how to be faster or outdrive those 2. So Klaus Neiring, who is familiar with both of them, mind you, racing for championships and wins, this is going to be an interesting fight, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually interesting to see Klaus Neiring, we know, is an incredibly quick driver. Finished, I believe, either third or second. The championship fight last season was extremely close and came down to the final race of the season. But Neiring was very quick in his Valkyrie, and it's an interesting shift from the Valkyrie, which is sometimes very quick, sometimes not so quick. The BOP has also been very unkind at Le Mans, and I gotta say, at Le Mans during the 24-hour last week that a lot of people took place in, it was absolutely hopeless and made me a bit sad to watch it. But Van der Vaken didn't get the message because he's absolutely flying in his. But yeah, for Neiring to switch into the Alpine is interesting and cool because you don't really get to see that car all too much. Chase Jones still leading the field, the GT3 field not by much. I'm kind of surprised I haven't mentioned this yet, but oh my gosh, look at how good that pink car looks. I love the Iron Dames car. I love the Iron Dames team. The fact that they had to step away from WEC is, I'm a little bit heartbroken, but that's racing sometimes, as Ted Edwards is trying to argue that the Ford Mustang GT3 is the greater of the 2 cars, and I would maybe agree if it were pink. I'm not saying the Porsches.
It's a better car than a Porsche. I'm sorry, 911 fans. It's a better car than a 911. But the livery and the team, I don't know. No disrespect to James Cowley and Ford and all of there, but I will say, even when there's no Iron Dame in the Iron Dames car, it's still a favorite for me, and I think that's a fairly large testament to the Mustang, though. The better sounding car. In my opinion, the better looking car.
I would agree.
But
not biased at all as Americans, by the way.
Better livery. I mean, I don't know about that, but James continues to lead over Smith Adams in the LMGT3 field. Vermac in third has not allowed Smith Adams to escape them. Neither has Smith Adams allowed Jones to escape. Realistically, behind them, of course, we just saw Cali driving by themselves in the John Dalton zone in fourth place over Townsend.
Jesse, was that a Metal Gear Solid ringtone I just heard? That made me really happy. But I'm gonna guess that you have to step away for just a moment, which is allowed. I'll allow it. As your boss, I'll allow it. I'm not Jesse Lee's boss. I just want to make that clear. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I love my job. Please don't get rid of me. As we see, Tom Shipston, there's the Alpine of Klaus Nyring getting through nice and easy. But Shipston driving the BMW there, which for the past while, honestly, there hasn't really been there hasn't really been a big BOP swing in the GT3 field as long as I've sort of been interacting with this game for the past sort of 6 months. And the BMW still seeming to be the car of choice. It is circuit dependent. I think one of the things that LMU does well, I was worried Billy Octane was getting a little out of shape there. Ooh, a little bit of a lockup. I think he was a bit out of shape. And that is Daly, that was getting a bit out of shape and had a bit of a lockup. Daly being, of course, chasing Billy Octane ahead, but managed to rescue it, not lose too much time. And this is one of the nice shots on the circuit. Really gives you an idea of the breadth of cars that you'll see and everything. But as I was saying, one of the things that LMU does extremely well, I think, is the BOP. I think it's not perfect, as with any BOP, but it does a good job. John Gray maybe looking to the inside of Badowski there, maybe just showing in the mirrors, saying, hey, look at me, instead of looking ahead. That 50-50 yellow and black BMW chasing the Porsche Penske driven by Marco Badowski. But yeah, the BOP, it's not perfect, as it is in quite honestly in real racing. I would argue in all endurance racing, the BOP can be a bit strange, but it seems that you can hop into most cars and find a reasonable amount of success. I say most cars because the hypercar field has 3 vehicles in it that are famous: the Van Wall, the Sota, and the Glickenhaus.
Yeah,
I drove.
Jack, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I heard a team that you drive for was genuinely considering driving the Van Wall for an extended period of time, and I start to question your guys' sanity a little bit.
We don't have any, as Ted Edwards also says.
Would
Ted got to experience the lack of sanity firsthand. He joined us for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which was an absolute riot. And if anybody who's listening has the opportunity to do a 24-hour race with a bunch of their friends, do it. It's hard. It's long. People get a little bit tired and a little bit silly, but it's really very fun. And it's a great experience. Honestly, endurance racing in general. I can't wait for endurance racing I can't wait for... Yeah, I was going to say, Janowski maybe going for it a bit here. We're coming down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. Janowski thinking about around the outside. Oh, leaves just enough room, but isn't quite able to keep it going. We'll see.
It's a
little bit of a touch. Man, Netcode is doing overtime right now, but Janowski still has the inside there. What? Doesn't have the run. Here comes the Porsche. Beautiful multi-class moment there.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesse Lee, we need to change our pants, but there's the BMW a bit on the grass. Janowski still pushing to chase down that BMW ahead. I mean, look at all of this. And, not a position change, but it felt like that was a lot of racing that happened in a couple of corners. We'll see Adusa Carpenter taking it easy through Maggotts and Beckett's. Not a place where you want to try to overtake a bunch of GT cars while they're racing each other. You can see the pace difference between the two cars. Beep, beep, out the way. I'm in a hypercar. See you later. But now we see on board with Lily Armstrong in the middle of this, or sorry, at the back of this 4-way fight for position. Oh, it's Reese Wilkinson in the Lamborghini, not the Lamborghini, in the McLaren. Thinking briefly about re-entering the circuit in a let's say, less than opportune.
Oh,
Oh,
contact. There was contact with a
there was
hypercar right there.
contact. We'll see. It was the Hertz Porsche. Oh, wait, but
Wait,
does the Hertz get tagged? Oh, the Hertz has to
Wait.
run off.
wait, was that
Oh,
the leader? Was that the leader of hypercar?
wait, was it?
Because that was nearly a 5-second lead. It's down to 1 second now, 1.2
That might
as
have
they go
been.
through.
Oh, it's Marco
No, we're being
Badowski.
told that was Badowski. So something
Yes.
else has happened to the lead of
Oh.
this race. But that was Marco Badowski who did a spinata, a pirouette, and will continue on. Reese Wilkinson got the worst of that as we just saw a textbook example of multi-class racing going right. Here's a textbook example of it going wrong. Look at this. Out of the way, Christopher Strepa trying to avoid, has to mow the lawn. That is a very expensive lawnmower. There is a manufacturer in this race that makes lawnmowers, but it isn't a Porsche.
There is? Which car is
Lamborghini.
Which car is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I feel dumb.
Work with me here, Jack. Come on.
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with me.
No, listen, I'm a professional. No, I get it. They do make lawnmower attachments for their tractors more specifically. Lamborghini is well known for their tractors, but yeah, it was a big moment. That's part of the multi-class. Oh my!
Ignore that.
Lord.
Ignore that. Don't worry about that. That did not happen. By the way,
that was incredible.
just to clarify something we were talking about earlier, Mikhail Sundstrom asked if there was floor damage in LMU, and Jack and I went on a tangent how you can smack curbs and damage the front, the back, and parts of the car. No, apparently there is no traditional floor damage, but you can smack the curbs and damage the underside of the car, i.e. splitters and stuff like that. So just to clarify what we're on about, but that is technically different than damaging the floor. Reese Wilkinson into the pit lane, and this could be a scheduled stop. Obviously, we saw them have their issues, but Jack, this might be on the edge of what they're capable of getting away with. They're clearly sitting there for a very long time. I wonder if they were repairing damage. They probably were, just a little bit, putting the fuel and the refueling the virtual energy as well. New boots on the car, and they're down and away. I think, could be wrong here. I'm famous for my mass on a Friday here at RCI. I think he can make it from here.
I think you might be right. You can see the virtual energy. It's not quite full, which would lead me to believe that he knows that there is enough fuel and it's taking just a bit less to have a bit of a quicker race car there, as we're briefly seeing our GT3 leaders. They're still fighting hard, and now we have the Mustang coming through. But there's Jones maybe getting a bit hassled by a hypercar there. That would be Christoph Verstappen, and but nothing to. Ooh, bit of a brief pop smoke, bit of a lockup there from Verstappen going into Stowe corner. But it's that multi-class element. I try to say it in every single multi-class race I'm ever commentating for. Multi-class giveth and multi-class taketh away. Whether that's big moments, whether that's small moments, whether that's time loss, whether that's time gain. There's a level of strategy when you're racing other cars, particularly hypercars, and you're overtaking GT3 cars or maybe LMP2s, maybe LMP3s, depending on what race you're doing. But it's something about the efficiency in which you can overtake, the comfort in which you can overtake these GT3 cars, and maybe put your rival in a bad position. We see another pit stop here for Wojciech Rybecki, and I think that would confirm that cars can make it. Earlier in this race,
at least
Rybecki
LMGT3s can. Hypercars cannot make it from here.
It's probably getting a bit close, but yeah, Rybecki, as a reminder, met Barrier early on in the race. And I have to admit, it's a good-looking livery there. I like this sort of black and white, and didn't get a perfect high-def look, but it looked like maybe some tally marks type thing. It looked quite good. Lots of really good-looking liveries here today. And I think, Jesse, you might be right on the most custom liveries we've maybe seen on LMU so far, and it's fantastic. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. If somebody wants a crappy livery, send me a message. I might say no, but if I have time, I might do it, because honestly, if it gets more custom liveries on the road and
Oh
gives
man,
me more time to mess around in making a goofy looking car, I don't know. So
Martin
do that.
Lawrence on the back of P8 right there. Barnabas Facekiss, who we just saw a local yellow, and it was for the fourth place driver in the hypercar class. Barnabas Facekiss going off of the road. They were able to rejoin. Now, was this a single car spin? I'm gonna go on a limb and say it is for the Alpine. And just too much speed, too much brake while turning. Easy to do, and well, luckily, no real damage done that time as they slowed the car down into, I believe that was Village they were going into.
I believe you might be right, and I'm assuming by village, do you mean V? It's the only V named corner. Um,
Nope. I mean Village.
you mean village?
Village. Village
You do
after
mean
Farm
village.
Curve.
Village is a corner on this
Yep.
circuit. I am an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Well,
I'm also blame it on my North Americanness. I'd like to point out I'm from Florida. The water makes me stupid.
we have towns
Um,
where we're from. All right, we don't got no villages around here.
what in tarnation is a village?
Yeah,
I know a
never
city,
heard of
I
it.
know a state, I know a town. Oh,
Oh my
wait,
God, is that a car blowing up? That is one of
that's
the
smoke
Porsche. That's the
off the
Jota
back.
Penske, or the Jota Porsche is blowing up. Or at least I think it is. Let's see. We saw the puffs of smoke. That is something that you can do in LMU. And
Yep.
yeah, that is a very sickly Christopher Strepa.
It is worth mentioning. In my experience, those cars can. That's sort of as they begin to overheat, and depending on, I don't know the threshold on temperature when that begins. You can see it begins
Oh
right at
man.
the exit of Luffield, but depending on the temperature, I don't know if it'll last 45 minutes. Ooh, anyways, okay, we're still going. Are we back? I think we're back. But yeah, depending on when that happens, it seems to be we're not 100% sure when the smoke begins, but I know for a fact that it only really shows up when the cars sort of reach full throttle. And I'm not sure if it'll last for 45 minutes, but I know it can last for a while. I know that because I was uh, following. I think I was following a Ferrari back in the 6 hours of Coda, and it I think was smoking for a full 30 minutes before the engine finally gave up. So maybe Christopher Strapen can figure out a lift and coast strategy, maybe something to cool the car in hopes that it stops smoking. However, it's not smoking anymore. So I think the temperatures maybe have come down. I'm being told this is not live. Therefore,
Well, I'm he's trying to figure out. Ted Edwards, our broadcaster, is trying to find exactly the moment. There was the first puff right there, going into the corner at the end of the highest hanging RPMs of the entire lap, is where it started. I saw a little bit of a puff, and then I think it's only going to get worse. But Jack, you talk about how it's not constant, and it's a good point. And I had an engineer once describe this to me and say, Jesse, the engine's not going to mend itself. and meaning that it's never going to get better, right? So it only gets worse from here. Still not doing it the entire way, but yeah, fully on throttle. It's definitely, oh boy, it's definitely getting a little bit worse.
yeah, it's unfortunate to see. I mean, it could be that Verstappen's setup, his radiators were taped up just a little bit, maybe just a little bit too much. He's pushing the car a little bit too hard. This is our leader going into the box, Milan van der Weyken, behind the wheel of that Aston Martin Valkyrie. Seems like a bit of an early stop, maybe going 50-50 on fuel. Usually, the general strategy as far as LMU is concerned, I could be mistaken, not very fast, just I like driving slowly, and we'll see. Is he usually you want to put as little fuel as possible in the car in a pit stop, save time in the pits. I mean, that extra, you take an extra 20-30% energy, that can be an extra 10 seconds in the pit lane, and that's an extra 10 seconds added to your race time from pitting that early. To be fair, though, Milan van der Weyken has been absolutely flying So who am I to say whether his strategy will work or not? We shall see. I mean, we might get a bit of a treat to see what he can do powering back through the field. I know his virtual energy does say 23%. That should update once he clears the first sector. So we'll see now that he's dropped back to the back of the hypercar field when that will decide to update where the end of sector one is. Can't say I'm 100% sure where that is on this circuit, but it should pop up. It's right there, ladies and gentlemen. 80% virtual energy is all Milan van der Weyken thinks he needs to complete this race. 87, whatever number I said, Ted. I'm sure it was fine.
Well, I will say this earlier. I did mention that the hypercar class was tightening up. It was 2, 3 some seconds gap. It was down to under 1.5 seconds. That was likely due to traffic. It tightened up in LMGT3 as well at the same time as both classes started intermingling as the hypercars continued to lap around. And uh, Milan van der Velken was unable to gain almost any of that time back. Zach Vermack has lost P2 in the LMGT3 category, and that is P2 in front of them now. The Smith Adams, actually, no, that's the way that they've been for quite some time. In fact, Zach Vermack in P3. Yeah, this is the way it's been for the past 20 minutes or so, I'm pretty sure. Vermack, though, has tightened up a little bit, though, on the back of Smith Adams. A couple of cars have DNF'd. We saw Navarro exit, and Angela Scotti has also DNF'd. So one out of both categories thus far. And for the past 10 minutes or so, we've had a moment of relative calm after things were incredibly chaotic to start. Louis Kierton leads the race overall, as Van der Voken is the first of the front-running hypercars to do their pit stop, and I fully expected somebody to come in to answer Van der Voken, but they haven't done. Badowski's gone off the racetrack again, and in the background, I believe I saw Christopher Strepe smoking even more
Yes.
than they previously were, unless my eyes
Yeah.
are deceiving me.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Oh, yeah, we see a shot there. That's a bit more smoke. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe
That's
maybe
not a
Van der
puff. That's a
Vaken's
cloud, I think, at
sorry,
that
not Van der
point.
Vaken. Yes, at that point, I think Christopher Strapen is just sort of like maybe closing his eyes, putting his fingers in his ears, la la la
Isn't
la,
the
and
curve
maybe it
there?
won't blow up.
There it is.
Oh, lost it
You know,
there. Another.
I had this
Yeah.
problem when I was racing here as well. I don't know what it is about the curbs at Silverstone, but they seem to upset me quite a lot. The only other track I think that had curbs that annoyed me quite as bad as this was Algarve, to be fair. So I'm not
Oh,
entirely
yes.
sure what
Good
it is
call.
about Silverstone,
Hate those curves.
but they're real bad. But yeah, look at this. This is what we saw in the background of the car. The focus there didn't really illustrate it as much, but yeah, it's getting worse for Christopher Strefe. And the worst part is, Jack, you can't fix this. This isn't something you go into the pit stop and you're able to fix. This is engine damage. This is terminal at some point if he continues around here. And it's you can't fix this in the pit lane.
Yeah, and I'm just hearing breaking news. Oh, it's weird. The area around Silverstone is being hit with a certain amount of smog. That's weird this time of year. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
they don't.
normally
Yeah,
expect that.
weird that Northamptonshire they don't have any mosquitoes though. Weird.
Interesting how all that works. And now we're getting Marco Badowski into pit lane. I think maybe he's thinking a couple fresh tires after that spin. LMU, if you're not aware, I'd say is world famous to everyone that drives it, is if you get a flat spot, you will feel vibration. It will be uncomfortable. Your hands will go numb after a certain amount of time. And sometimes it's better just to get rid of those tires that are flat spotted, maybe bolt on a couple new ones and keep it going. And I think that that's Badowski's plan at the moment. Fill up for the rest of the race, put on some new tires as we see Lily Armstrong firing it out of the box. And it's been a bit of a quiet race for Lily Armstrong, but there was quite a bit of improvement through the field since this race start. It is worth mentioning we are watching the fastest hands in the West. If you're not sure what I mean by that, well, it's quite simply Lily Armstrong drives on a game path. So when and if you go on board with them, it looks completely absurd. I think as Ted's going to do the same. We'll see.
I think
Well,
it's
that
a bit
actually looks
smoother in LMU. I mean, you
uh,
can still see the undulation, but it's not as it's not as
jarring.
immediate. Yeah, it's not as absurd as it is in ACC. There's a bit of smoothing in LMU.
I think,
Uh,
yeah, that's
yeah,
actually
and
impressive. Oh,
because
you can
the
see a
thing with
little of those
Lily
wiggles
is
there, though.
the thing with
That's
Lily
not
is
grease.
yeah is that Lily's not like jerking the steering wheel like crazy in ACC any different than they are here in LMU, really. But the thing is the way it's translated into the wheel is vastly different. There's like some kind of smoothing effect in LMU. I've been told that there has been a retirement for the race. Looks like Gray has retired, Jack.
Yeah, apparently we're not 100% sure what happened. They were apparently in the pits, and I don't know. Maybe they decided, maybe they had to go for some reason. Maybe they decided that's all the racing that they felt like doing today. Who can say? But that is our second
Now
retirement of
that's a
the
livery
race
right there.
as
That's what a
Ryan
livery.
Gill come out. Oh
If
yeah,
you want to know what that's an excellent use of custom liveries. Whoever designed that, whoever came up with that, 10 out of 10. I think
of course.
honestly, it's such a great livery. Um, Great livery, great race team. SJ&H, one of the several cars out there in the field today. Billy Octane also repping the calls. I didn't see Daly's BMW, but I suspect he's also SJ&H, or maybe he's just gamers for this series.
I
Unsure. At
believe
least
he's
two
actually running
SJ&Hs.
the factory BMW car. He's
Oh
running
yeah, no,
the
you're right. He is.
whatever the WRT team, I believe
Yep.
is the name of that team. But yes, it is just the standard BMW. And I'm going to take one quick moment to update yet again on the split two race. Things have sort of been switching around yet again in the hypercar field. Keller still leads. Kevin Boss was briefly in second, but has been battling hard with Max Threadgill over that position. LMGT3, same old Luca Rubin Ryu is leading the race. Actually, as I say that, Joe Dauber headed into the pits. So P2 is no longer his. It's Ruben Ryu in first, Emo Plate in second, and Dries Verhulst in third position in split two.
Well, there you go. Two splits, two nearly ram packed splits of racing, both hypercar and LMGT3. Split one, you could generally consider the quicker of the two, but there is sort of an overlap at the tail end and the front of the two. Just been told that we're having a flurry of DNFs here. Martin Lawrence has just DNF, the LMU winner in the Mustang in several races here on RCI TV. Not in a Mustang for this series, in a Lexus, and has DNF'd. Unsure why that car is DNF'd nearing the pit cycle, but they have indeed parked the Lexus in the garage. Yet another DNF, a puzzling one to say the least. None of the leading hypercars have come in other than Van der Voken, who come in quite early indeed. All the other hypercars that have pitted were not necessarily a factor for the podium. So that means Louis Kierton continues to lead Giacomi around, Barnabas Facekiss in third, Octane Daly the top five. And you can see all those cars, based on their energy level, they're going to have to come in a lap or so's time. I would say sooner rather than later, probably at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the only car that for sure could go for another lap is Jordan Daly down in fifth position. But this is going to be a bit wiggly
You
there
were
for
saying?
Billy Octane at the end of the lap. Well, it actually seems that um, Octane does have enough for another lap. So maybe 5%, 4% is the bubble of being able to complete a lap around this circuit. Klaus Nyring also maybe being next to do that pit. I did just realize I said that Octane just was getting ready to start another lap. I was getting confused on my start lines. That in fact was Lewis Hamilton straight and not the national pit straight. There's Louis Kierton from the lead pitting in. We'll see if Eduardo Gaicomi does come in as well behind. I think that's going to mean that just about everybody's going to be hitting pit lane. Pit lane's about to get a little bit busy as far as the hypercars are concerned. We'll see if Billy Octane, he is going to pit, and that's Jordan Daly with his extra bit of fuel deciding to continue. And I think Zeno Vandrisha just behind also is continuing on. Nope, that's Vandrisha in the box. I'm entirely wrong. Klaus Nyring definitely going to have to pit at 2%, but we're going to see what happened as far as Vander Vaken. He did pit early. I did say that perhaps that might be a mistake, and we're about to see now if I was proved wrong. Jordan Daly has now taken the lead of this race, which I don't know about you, Jesse. Makes me a bit happy. I know it makes Ted happy. We're all happy. We love everybody here.
Well, look,
some people we love maybe a little bit more.
This is the clip that he sends to friends and family when they ask how the racing's going. So, Daly, I'll set you up. Jordan Daly leading the race. There, just send them that clip. They won't know anything, is the wiser. Of course, has a shot here for a top 5, Daly does. He's going to go the extra lap pit and take on less virtual energy. So that may lessen his pit time and help catch him up for that fight for a P5 here today. And that was likely the strategy all along. Suspiciously used a lap less energy than anyone else. And to have a full extra lap in the bank, that leads me to believe that he either was stuck behind traffic at some point for a while or was not pushing quite as hard as some of the other drivers inside the top 5. Nevertheless, will have to take less fuel and virtual energy on this stop. Has to come in now, though. Here he is setting up.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get a really good view of what the pit entry is like. It is, honestly, it can be a little bit easy to go a bit too fast. You come around that blind corner and you're like, I'm going to keep my foot down. No. You got to slow down to 60 kph over that line. But there's Jordan Daly, the last of our hypercars to enter pit lane. It is worth mentioning Milan van der Vaken came out behind Louis Kierton, has already closed that gap by about half a second. But it's, well, the strategy maybe didn't work out perfectly.
Yeah.
Because Louis Kierton, if he elected to change tires, not 100% sure, Kierton will have fresher tires for longer. Van der Vaken's been on his, well, possibly couple of new tires for longer. And, well, doesn't have to warm them up. So I think that's part of why that gap is tumbling. Louis Kierton came out of the pits. Whether those tires were new or not, they did lose temperature, they did lose pressure, and it will take a moment or so to build that back up. But Milan van der Vaken is currently flying. As we see,
who are we looking at? Is this Van Driesch? Who was that we were looking at in the garage there? Okay. It was Giacomi, but it was showing us as if they had retired. Edardo had not retired, but it was showing us the pit garage as if they had, in fact, retired. Very strange indeed. But Giacomi in the pit lane, and something has gone wrong for Giacomi. They are, of course, well out of position from where they were running down into 12th place. So whatever has befallen them, they are now a lap down in 12th place in the class. Some of the tail end of the LMGT3s coming in to do their pit stop. James Cowley in the lane came out of P4 down to 6th now. But let's see, gains 1 and 2. Both of those spots regained. Actually gains an additional spot up to P3 now. Oh, no, goes back to 4 because another car has come through, of course. Tom Watts has put them down into 4th place. That's where they were running prior to the stop, and that is where they will come out. Jones, Smith, Adams, and Watts all have a pit stop they have to do, not because we require it, but because the car is limited and has to do that. Tom Watts, though, up 8 spots right now, the biggest mover in the LMGT3 class. Here is your class leader in LMGT3, Chase Jones, in the Iron Dames Porsche livery. That virtual energy bar has one little what would you call that? Tick, a bite, whatever, of virtual energy left. I sense the pit stop for the race leader in the LMGT3 class. Want to say hello to Ash Bibby, who joined us in the chat as well. And the bar is gone for Chase Jones. Now, I do know, Jack, the way this used to work, it doesn't matter if you run out of virtual energy mid-race, you don't get a penalty. At least you used to not get a penalty. It only gave you a penalty if you cross the line at the end of the race without any virtual energy in the car. So we'll see very quickly if that is still the case.
I believe that if you run out of virtual energy at any point during a session and you still have fuel in the car, so obviously you can keep driving. Let's say you have an extra liter of fuel, then you do virtual energy, you do get a stop go penalty. So and I've seen that in I don't know if I've seen that happen in a race session, but it does happen in qualifying. It can happen in practices as well. So I'm pretty sure at any point, if you go below that virtual energy allocation and still have fuel in the car, that is a stop go penalty. And we're seeing Tom Watts now. That when that bar is empty, I believe that is under 1% virtual energy left in those cars. So these three, the top three at the moment in the LMGT3 field, getting it absolutely perfect on their fuel calculation to the nearest percent. And now Chase Jones is out of pit lane and back into the lead of the race with a pretty comfortable margin to P2. Probably the most comfortable lead thus far. I think Eduardo Giacomi is maybe having connection issues. It is known that if you get suddenly disconnected from a session, it won't DNF you immediately. It will stick you in the pits. You are free to reconnect.
Lovely feature.
It will then, it does take a while and then sticks you in your pit box on whatever lap you disconnected. So most likely you're going to lose a lap, maybe two, because of that disconnection issue. But now we see Milan van der Wegen chasing down Louis Kearton, and the gap is closed. It was 2 seconds last time we looked. Now it's near and about 1.5 seconds. We'll see. It's clear that van der Wegen maybe has a bit more pace at the moment, but he still has to get past Louis Kearton. And also, there's moments like this where maybe he gets stuck behind GT3 traffic. He might have lost a bit of time there. He certainly lost.
Oh, he lost
a lot of
a
time.
ton of time. Oh my goodness. That was 1.2 seconds going into that section, and exiting it was 1.7. So a half a second nearly of time lost. And off of the racetrack is Milan van der Wegen. And that's not what you want to see, because, again, you have to mind the track limits as well. You don't want to go over the track limit, points limit, and get yourself a penalty. We see that time and time again in LMU. But, Jack, my question for you, with Louis Kearton out in front, and van der Wegen very clearly had that strategy that they were going to come in as early as possible, get their stop done, and go back out there. My question is why, if you had the lead and you knew that you had the speed in the race car like he does in that Valkyrie, why would you put yourself through this stress of having to drive back up through them? I don't understand the logic in that, unless Milan van der Wegen was just looking to play on hard mode a little bit today. But as far as like a legitimate strategy, I can't think of anything.
The only possible thing I can think of is maybe Milan has done enough testing, did enough driving to know that to get this level of pace out of the car, he's got to shred a tire or two, and knows that at that 50%, which was where he pit earlier in the race, at that 50%, go in, take fuel for the end of the race, and maybe change that problematic tire or two so you can fly through the end of the race. That's just about the only thing I can think of. But that being said, usually, if that's the case, if you're shredding your tire, you would want to maybe back off a little bit so that you can save extra time in the pit lane. Because quite honestly, he probably added a good 10 seconds of race time because of that early stop. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if he clears Louis Kearton ahead and wins this race, all of what we said doesn't matter, because he might have just been playing on hard mode, but it doesn't matter because he was still able to get the victory. But that's not certain as of yet. We're still 22 minutes remaining in this race, but Milan van der Wegen is absolutely flying. Seems to be able to gain a couple of tenths in the first sector. They seem to be reasonably similar. I'll keep a look on the gap. Oh, Frederick was a little bit wide there, so that's a little bit of time loss. But they seem reasonably even in the second sector, maybe. Valkyrie seems to be very strong around the circuit. This is really the first time that I've seen, what cars are good at why on around this circuit. I haven't seen hypercars around, and well, the Valkyrie can be quick around certain circuits and not great around others. Suddenly, GT3 cars. That was a bit of a. Oh, there's another one there. Suddenly, a bit of a rub on the exit by Louis Kierton. Maybe misjudged that just a tad. But importantly, see that flash there. I think that might have affected that fight just behind. I think everybody looks reasonably where they started. But that's part of what I was referring to earlier as far as dealing with traffic. When you have a rival chasing you, especially one you know might have more pace than you, every bit of traffic, every bit of LMGT there you find on circuit could be used and possibly has to be used tactically. And Louis Curtin knows he has to clear those cars immediately. Otherwise, that gap's going to go from half a second to 0 seconds and possibly open up a move for Van der Weyck in there. So him being a bit rushed, having a bit of contact with that BMW is pretty much par for the course. We're hearing Ted saying about 3/10, and I agree. Through Maggots and Beckett's, that Valkyrie seems to be absolutely epic. We have another bit of traffic here into Stowe Corner. Is it going to slow Louis Kierton down? Doesn't seem to. Maybe he had to back off just a little bit, but I'm not sure. That wasn't anything that will change the fight. I did see at the side of the shot there is another GT3 car coming up. So maybe through the Abbey Farm Village section, there may be some argy-bargy, some effect, some multi-class that will affect this fight. But at the moment, it's Armstrong. It's BMW v BMW with Lily Armstrong fighting for position there and clearing Tom Watts at the moment. Shipston being the next car up the road. But that was that three-way fight that had a bit of contact we saw earlier in the lap from the hypercar leaders. But they didn't let that stop their race. They didn't let them halt their race because these three are still going at it. The BMW machinery clearly being maybe not the favorite at this circuit as it is as many others, Jesse. But nevertheless, they're giving us a show.
Yeah, this is something Armstrong tends to do. Klaus Nyring has gone off. Klaus Nyring's Alpine well and truly off of the racetrack. A monumental off by Klaus Nyring. And I don't know if they made contact with anything, but they were a mile off.
I believe that was at Vale. Yeah, that was the braking zone towards Vale. A bit of an interesting place to go that far off, that deep. Even if you lock up, that's a long way.
If they weren't contacted, one would have to think they had a tire off into the dirt or maybe over the curb or something.
Because here,
that far off, we'll see. Here comes Klaus.
Yeah, he
did. He got a tire off. That's the only way I've ever ended up over there is when
I don't actually know if the tire was off the road. I think it might have just been a lockup on the rear. Nope. It's a lockup on the rear. I don't
know. NFL. Let's do the zoom and enhance.
Let's see that again.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, he was off.
No, I need to see.
No.
Ted, can I get
technology?
Can I get third person, please? Can I get chase cam?
He's over the line and it's out. And I'm sorry, but he's gonna touch.
He's not. Look, he's not.
As it turns out, after further review, there is no foul on the play. We're gonna replay first down. I thought that he touched it ever so slightly when he had wheel. It's a different
kind of skill issue.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He doesn't at all. That is so strange. Just a straight up lockup. I can't say I've ever seen that or done that.
Oh, I've done that tons of times.
Really? Is it common in hypercar?
Well, it's common when I'm driving hypercars.
I see.
I think it's by. I think it's by nature of of
It seems
you
so
know.
absurd. I assumed it had to be in the dirt. Oh, and this battle continues.
Oh, yeah, they're still going at it. It does seem a bit strange, and honestly, when it's happened, it never really feels like it should. Something feels wrong. It's a very snap. I mean, the brake shape of these cars. Actually, I'm gonna hold on for 2 seconds. I was thinking maybe Van der Vaken was thinking about it into Stowe. That would have been incredibly brave. We're gonna go on board. See, I think Milan is going to wait until this move is absolutely certain, not throw anything away, not make any brash decisions, because after all, there is still 17 minutes left in this race. Milan knows he has the pace and will take his time. But as I was about to say, is I feel like it's by nature of the brake shape in these cars. It's very peaky. You want to reach sort of peak brake
Mm.
early and then trail off. And if peak too early, maybe you hit 100 very, very quickly, or you hit 100 at all. It can micro lock the rear and upset it, and basically spin you off.
I
That's
know that
my theory,
LMU
anyways.
LMU in general, whenever you're putting quite a lot of load through the brake at slower speed, it tends to lock you. You do have to feather off as you go into your braking zone, trail brake, if you will, because if you don't, and you treat it like you would in ACC, and you're on and off and you're slamming it. Whenever you're slowing down, you're coming through the gears. I noticed that a lot of times it does tend to lock up, and you got to sort of feather the throttle, trail brake a bit, and I've never seen it do that in a straight line, however, which was the strange thing about Klaus Neiring's incident, is just how unusual that was. Normally, when that happens, you're sort of turning still, and it just sort of goes wrong all of a sudden. But very strange indeed, but unfortunate nonetheless for Klaus Neiring getting the
Is he gonna
braking
think
wrong.
about
Could this
it?
be the move? I think he
Oh,
is
he's
going
thinking
down
about it.
the inside. Oh, it's a huge slide.
Oh,
Got the GT car in front. He's going to give that back up. Is Milan van der Voken not going to take it right there? Realizes that was a little too deep. There's a car. Oh, sideways. Here is Kierton, and he's going to give up the outside to Van der Voken. They're going to be
oh!
side off into the dirt as Van der Voken, and he's going to surrender the spot back to Louis Kierton again.
I think you have it a bit backwards there, Jesse. It's Milan van der Vaken who's taken the position. It was Van der Vaken who got a bit not a bit of a wiggle, a very large wiggle. We can see Van der Vaken maybe looking to the inside here at the loop. And it's line astern so far. There is a GT on the exit that could maybe compromise Van der Vaken's launch at the exit of the corner. But an absolutely absurd move to try to dive it through Stowe like that. And very well judged. There's a level of respect from drivers of these caliber and people that have raced together that they know I'm going to give the space. I'm going to allow for maybe not allow for the move, maybe not give it up, but sort of understand this is what this person's about to do. I'm not going to force contact. I'm not gonna ruin what's otherwise a fantastic race, throwing away a move like that. And we're dropping into the back of the field. It's Billy Octane into the side of Vandrisha in the Lamborghini. Somehow neither of them go around. That's Jordan Daly just behind, looking opportunistic, hoping that maybe next time that mistake is a bit bigger. And I must say, Zeno Vandrisha is on a mega drive, considering he was backwards at lap 1 and at the very back of the field, all the way up into P4 in that Lamborghini. That is a mega drive. We'll see the replay here. Octane getting a bit opportunistic, seeing that there might be a gap coming up. I believe we're finding that replay. Ooh, a bit of a shuffle there. Octane thinking about it. Oh, they're too wide through Abbey. Oh, it's good racing though. Good hard racing. Octane's looking in the inside of Village. It's just that touch, but it's not enough to cause
they get away
too
with
much
it
of a
somehow.
stir. Yeah, I'm very, very impressed as we're going to see what
industry-leading netcode indeed.
Oh, man, I usually
that is and
very
crash
sideways.
in any other sim right there. That is and crash, but for some reason it wasn't here.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of good netcode and really, really good car control from Billy Octane. But we know now Octane's ready to make the hard move. He's thinking about the switchback like last lap. I think we might see a bit of a repeat, but Octane backed out just a little bit. But it opens the door for Jordan Daly, making himself known with the weave of the century going into Abbey. And this
Weave
section
century.
in these cars, yes, weave of the century. As I
Oh, my goodness.
wiggle for Octane. These cars, the only person who's really sort of keeping it cool and collected is Van Drisha in the front. But these BMWs are so quick, and they will not go quietly into the night. I will not quote any more of the Independence Day movie. Other than that,
Is that what you've been doing?
Well, that's what that was. That I haven't done it any. I didn't do it any other point. At least
I was gonna say, it's like, am I sleeping on these references, the famous Jack Mays references? I was gonna say, it's like, how long have you been doing that and expecting me to understand? Now, Billy's driving the literal wheels off of that BMW for SJ&H, trying to get by Zeno Van Dries and unable to get it done. Daly, of course, friend and rear gunner here. You may wonder, well, why didn't Daly take more advantage of Octane getting sideways? It's because they're kind of aligned manufacturally and based on friendship as well. I did the SpongeBob friendship thing as well a little bit there, but yeah, that's why Daly didn't take a full-on look there. But Billy Octane nearly it all coming undone, but still on the back of Van Dries, has a look, blocked off, unable to get it done. Huge lockup by Van Dries right there. It's going to go wide into the dirt. Here comes Octane through. Here comes Jordan Daly. Van Dries still in trouble. Van Dries still not got it together off of that section of corner. And now finally back, 2 spots lost for Zeno Van Dries, a costly lockup.
Oh, that was such a big moment there. We're going to see. Ted's going to give us the replay of that. And man, racing is all about tiny margins. And you can make a marginal mistake that can end up being pretty major in the grand scheme of your race. But I will say, to Van Dries's credit, the Lamborghini is quite hard to drive. There's Billy Octane there almost getting touched without consent by a Ford Mustang. Oh, you can see that lock up there.
So good. See, now that's what I'm used to seeing when a hypercar locks up on a straight. That's what I'm used to seeing, and you just spear off, obviously, but just nothing. Van Dries is just trying to get as far into the braking zone as possible, gets it a little wrong, gets it deep, does the smart thing here, and doesn't rejoin at a horrible angle, but where the seam is, where the track comes back in the grass. You have 2 tires on, 2 tires off, not conducive to grip, loses it extra, and that's going to take him out of this fight. But that still could have been a lot worse. Let's see this again, though, Jack, from Billy Octane's point of view, starting with the huge moment.
Oh, there was contact. He did get touched by that Mustang. That was very close.
We have the fastest hands in the West. We have the fastest hands in the East. Estonia's Billy Octane.
Absolutely, and we'll see what it looked like from Octane's perspective. It's really not much later than Octane locks up, or than Octane
just harder on the brake, maybe.
Could be.
Different bias.
Yeah, I was going to say brake bias might have also determined that it was a front lockup rather than the rear. I mean, it kind of depends on driver preference to a degree. And the BMWs are still fighting.
This is still going.
Yeah, but the positions have swapped because Tom Shipston was leading this field, the white and red BMW, but now the 2 Skechers mobiles. These aren't the Skechers mobiles. These are the Skechers mobile, for reference, is the other car.
Is Rossi in this split?
Oh, the lead has changed. Milan van der Weyden has dropped behind Louis Curtin. Well spotted by Ted Edwards. We're going to get that replay for you real quick because this could be race deciding. We sort of assumed that Van der Weyden's pace would lead to, kind of being sewn up in that moment. But there's nothing like a race on the line. There's nothing like a win.
What's happened to Milan?
There's nothing like we'll see. Is it through Maggots and Beckett's? It is not.
But the gap's coming down before that.
Yep. Oh, it's GT3 traffic. That's what does it. multi-class has taketh
Oh
away.
no!
It's so unfortunate. Vander Vaken was thinking this Mercedes was going to take the normal racing line, and Vander Vaken was going to go wide and around the outside. And whether it was the Mercedes getting its braking point wrong or trying to get out of the way, which as a recommendation, if you're in a GT3 car, never try to get out of the way. Please drive predictably.
They always tell you, I've never seen a race series that is described it anywhere different to a slower class car. They always say the same thing: be predictable. And
Yep,
being predictable means stay on the racing line to do what you would normally do, allow the faster
absolutely.
traffic to make their way around them. And off
Ooh,
the racetrack right there is Milan van der Voken, who continues to show that they're a little bit rattled right now. Louis Kierton back out in front of this race with less than 7 minutes to go, and it's like Groundhog Day. Van der Voken has to get by Louis again.
yeah, and well, he's got a little bit less time and probably some less happy tires to do it. They do both have a little bit less grip. We're 6.5 minutes or so getting down, but Louis Kierton has been spurred on by the possibility of a win in this first round of the Multi-Sprint Series Season 4. I mean, we were seeing in the early part of the race, Van der Vaken was flying. And it was, I mean, if somebody told me to put my money on a driver at that moment, I would have thought that Van der Vaken had it shown up. But Louis Kierton has found a bit more pace in his BMW towards the end of this race. He didn't let Louis Kierton get away from him. Louis Kierton got caught up in some traffic, and now the race is back in his favor. 6 minutes now, 4 or so laps remaining in this race, and we'll see what happens. Is this Mustang going to get in the way on the exit? I don't think so. I think both cars getting through cleanly. That, by the way, is the pink Mustang that, well, there was almost a bit of a murder earlier on, but cleanly through this time. And we know Louis Kierton is super fast in the first sector, so we'll see what that gap looks like in the top left of your screen while they're going through. Van der Vaken is very close in behind, so closing that gap quickly might be a bit dangerous. The dirty air, but he seems to have done it already. About 1.5 tenths out of the exit. He's super close. Louis Kierton must go defensive. He stays defensive. Last time it was done around Stowe. Let's see if Van der Vaken can go around the outside. He can't quite do it. Maybe he tries it on the switchback towards Vale. Not quite. He didn't get as good of an exit as Louis Kierton on the off of the racing line. So Kierton survives another sector 1, but we have lap traffic coming on to the Lewis Hamilton straight. They're going to clear both of those cars easily, but the fight is still on. 4 tenths separate these cars, and that's actually the fight for P3, the final podium position. Yeah, in the GT3 field behind. Maybe we'll jump back to them, and we do in that moment. It is almost a little bit jarring going from 2 leading hypercars to GT3 cars, because it looks like they're moving in slow motion. That's just almost pathetically slow, but I know for a fact that those two are driving
they're not going slow.
They're going extremely fast.
Jarring is absolutely the correct word for what that's like, going from 2 super agile hypercars to GT3 machinery. But Zach Vermack trying their very best to get by Cowley. He has a run here, but he's going to be closed off by the Mustang. You dare not go wide here. Maybe a little bit of a bump between the two of them. Again, LMU, a sim where you can get away with that. Should you do it? That's a rather a different ethical debate than the literal of yes, you can, but should you do that indeed. Thinking about going side by side through Maggots and Beckett's, I wouldn't do it. They don't either, as they go single file, as they sort it out amongst themselves. Louis Kierton and Van der Voken continue their fight as well for P1 overall. Van der Voken continues in P2, stalking the lead, but as of yet hasn't been able to be just close enough to make that move. They will have to wait for another straight and get another good run, as it looks like for the moment, Jack, to my eye, this fight is equalized here in favor of Louis Kierton for the moment.
Yeah, I would argue that at this phase of the race, this phase of tire life, this phase of fuel, Louis Kearton does seem to have the advantage. I mean, towards the end of the lap, you see Milan van der Weyken losing that time he gains in that first sector. There is a brief yellow flag. It's gone again. Someone must have gone a bit wide. I was maybe wondering if there might be a crashed car that these two have to contend with, among all else. And we'll see, it's an Iron James. It's the second place. Whack. Actually, that's one of the few times that getting out of the way is actually the right thing to do. That's P1 in the GT3 class, seeing that this is the fight for the lead, wanting to not affect that race one way or the other, smartly and well judged, and letting them fight it out. But I see two more GT3s coming up, and these pack are fighting for position. It is into Maggots and Beckett's. They clear the McLaren. I know there's another car up in this shot. Actually, it's Christopher Straitman maybe was the car that I was seeing. That's not a GT3.
Wait, wasn't that car smoking earlier? Wasn't that car
Wait
on
a
fire
minute.
earlier? I'm pretty sure
Wait
there
a
was
minute.
something going on. Has that car healed itself? What is going on here?
He might also be driving a bit slowly, staying off the pace. We'll see. Yep, gets out of the way. Lets these two go
Here
through.
he goes.
He's thinking about it around the outside. Maybe a bit of a switchback. He does get better on the exit. Maybe it's going to be in the
He's
brakes.
trying it.
Down towards Vale. We'll see. No, he sticks behind for the moment through the Vale chicane. Around Club to complete what would be an F1 lap. But no, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the end of this lap. In fact, it might be the second to last lap for this race. These two are going to have one more lap. Milan van der Weyken's going to have only, well, he's got about, I don't know, 25 more corners of opportunity. Christopher Straitman just locking up a bit towards the very end there. But it's honestly, I would say that Louis Kearton has that, and Zach Vermaak has overtaken Cowley for third position. Something must have happened. We'll try to get that replay to you if we can before the end.
Oh,
Louis Kearton. Oh, I was going to say he has the advantage being the leading car, but it's so close, and it might be a move into cops. I hope not, because every time I think about a move into cops, I think about what happened between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. We don't want that here today. We're not going to get that here today. But Van der Weyken is 3 and a bit tenths on this lap. We know he's quicker here. I think his best opportunity for this move is going to be into Stowe Corner. And I guarantee Louis Kearton knows exactly that. He's going to place his car perfectly. He's going to do the best Maggots and Beckett's of his life. Van der Weyken's very close behind. Is Kearton going to go defensive? Does he feel the need to? He doesn't. He leaves the inside open. But Van der Weyken is not close enough. There's still Linus Stern coming out.
Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, maybe Vale. Maybe in the braking zone. It's not enough. A bit of a wiggle. Oh, but now I think
a lap left to go, and for Louis Kearton, it can't come soon enough. And Weyken will want at least one more shot at it, flashing the other cars, letting them know, hey, we're on for a finish, an all-time finish here. Milan van der Weyken trying to right the wrongs of the pit strategy. Didn't work out. Contact right here. Oh, no, and they're all going to be involved. One of the GT3s makes contact with the leader in hypercar and collects Milan as well. All three of them involved, and it looks like that gap will be just enough for Louis Kearton as it expands to the biggest it's been in a while.
Oh my goodness, I thought that might have been the end to a couple of cars races there, but everybody stayed on the circuit. A lot of contact, and what a race we had. What a fight between these two world-class drivers. Louis Kearton has to contend with one final GT3, but it's victory here at Silverstone. It's victory for Louis Kearton for the first time in Season 4. Milan van der Weyken, 3 tenths or so behind his rival. A fantastic race, giving each other a flash, giving each other props. What a finish. Absolutely incredible stuff. And we have Barnabas Fazekas coming around. Oh, that was a Penske Porsche going for a bit of a dirty ride towards the end. Barnabas Fazekas is your podium finisher, your final podium finisher in the hypercar field. Immediately, he's like, I'm done. I'm going back to the garage. And Chase Jones, he led the race the entire time and leads it to victory in his Porsche 911, the Iron Dames Porsche 911. It's a 1-2 finish in my head for the Iron Dames team. incredible stuff, an incredible drive by Nate Smith Adams. And here's Zach Vermaak. He had a fight to get on this final podium position. He won his fight in his BMW GT3 machinery, crosses the line in GT3. Oh, that was good stuff. I gotta say, I had high hopes for this race. I think we're gonna jump back and try to find that final overtake in the GT3 field because it was Vermaak had to fight it in the last lap or so. I'm gonna see if we can locate it. As you can see, there it is. It's Matt Townsend in the Mustang that he had to overtake, and oh, maybe not. Maybe possibly it was Cowley that he had to overtake. My apologies. And Ted's going to furiously try to find that. But I must say, I had high hopes for this race on Monday. If you weren't with us in the Porsche Cup, it was incredible. It was one of the best races I've yet commentated on. And I'd be lying if I wasn't expecting greatness from LMU. And I think it delivered in spades a super good race, a super great race circuit. I think we might be finding the moment. Yep, there's James Cowley ahead in the Mustang, currently in third position, as you can see indicated on the side of the car. There's Zach Vermaak chasing, currently in fourth. We'll see, because the gap was very close and then got widened significantly. So we're going to fast forward here towards the final minutes of the race. And while we are fast forwarding, I'm going to take a moment to thank some of the people who help us with the things we do here at RCI before I'm interrupted by racing, as I always am. To start off with that, I will start off with Ready, Set, Sim, our sim building partner here at RCI. They help you build the sim rig of your dreams or your budgets in second with the RSS Sim Builder. If you're looking for a wheel to maybe start out with, you're looking for some hardware, might I recommend Moser Racing, who provide super high quality direct drive hardware that doesn't break the bank. I am a big fan of Moza. I'm a bit of a Moza fanboy. That's what I use to race, and they treat me well, and they treat us well here at RCI. And maybe once you got your gear, you need to go buy a couple sim games. Head over to Green Man Gaming, where you can score some absolutely epic savings on all kinds of titles across the whole PC marketplace, including exciting new releases. And if Jesse was here, he'd say the exact same thing as me. Go buy a set of Corsa Rally on Green Man Gaming. I believe it's 7 or 8 USD off, a couple of pounds off on that title of a brand new game. And once you have your titles, go over to Coach Dave Delta. Get up to speed. Figure out where you need to find your pace to climb the sim racing ladder with helps from their apps, setups, and coaching. All on all of your favorite sim titles. Faster lap times begin with Delta. And if you're thinking about a VR headset, maybe you want to get into the VR game, might I recommend Pimax, who delivers class-leading clarity and resolution with their range of VR headsets. They have crazy, absurd things. I think there's a 12K headset coming soon in their lineup. And if you'd like to get a small discount, follow the link in the description and head over to their website to get some epic VR hardware. Last but and of course not the least, Motorsport UK selected us as one of their recommended esports communities, and it is an absolute honor to be on their list. And it is an absolute honor to now deliver you the race results for round one at Silverstone here at Multi Sprint Season 4. I thought that was going to be timed up a little better. Ted, I know I blindsided you. That's okay. Um, and it gives me an opportunity to take a breath because that got spicy, truly very, very spicy at the end. I feel bad that Jesse had to disappear on us right towards the end. Fortunately, he got to watch that finish though, because that was absolutely fantastic. A near photo finish between Louis Kierton and Milan van der Weyken. Just a one final reminder that is Louis Kierton. I know it says Louis Kinder. It's Louis Kierton, I promise. Um, and same person, same pace, same great finish, same victory. Milan van der Weyken wasn't able to clinch the victory towards the very end of the race. A couple of mistakes led to their downfall, but still a second place finish. Barnamos Fazekas is the final on the podium in third position. Billy Octane in fourth. Jordan Daly in fifth position, a top five on his LMU multi sprint debut. A very, very good drive. And Zeno Vandrisha in the mighty Lamborghini. Basically, everything went wrong in that race, but sixth place is nothing to scoff at for Zeno. Klaus Neiring is in seventh position in the Alpine. Ryan Gill in eighth. Christoph Verstrappen somehow, some way, didn't blow up their engine and managed to nurse it to a ninth place finish. Adusa Carpenter in 10th as well. Eduardo Gaicomi in 11th, and Marco Badowski in 12th is one of our did not finishers, as well as John Gray in 13th position. In the GT3 field, we have Chase Jones, who led from green to checker, as far as I'm aware, and did so in style in the Iron Dames car, followed in second position by the other Iron Dames car, Nate Smith Adams in second position. Zach Vermaak is the driver who rounds out the podium. James Cowley in fourth, Matt Townsend in fifth, Fulvio Di Polito in sixth, Jacob Janowski, seventh position, Tom Watts, eighth, Lily Armstrong, ninth, Tom Shipston, 10th, Reese Wilkinson in 11th, Wojtek Rybecki in 12th, Martin Lawrence in 13th, and Angela Scotti in 14th. Those two are our DNFers, and fortunately, we got through it before everything reset. And I do wish I could bring you the finishing order of the split two, but unfortunately, that server closed before I was able to grab a screenshot of that. Maybe someone could, who knows, maybe drop the order for me. Maybe I'll go ask somebody. But for the moment, that we'll certainly get those results, get those standings to you for next week's race. But I think at the moment, that's all we have. I don't see anybody in our interview. I think everybody is ready to take a break, ready to end their evening or afternoon or whenever. And I think we're going to have our replay of the overtake right at the end of the race between we'll see. Was it just Stowe? Could it have been? Oh, okay. James Cowley just lost it there going into Stowe. That's a big moment for the Mustang driver. That's very interesting. I'm wondering if it was a maybe brake bias. See, turns in, and it just doesn't really grip in the rear, and runs wide and runs wild, and that would explain why that gap dropped so much. That's such a tough mistake to make towards the end of the race, and I mean, elation for Zach Vermaak to get that podium without having to fight further, but you know, not the best. And I think we're going to have Ted Edwards look for another replay just before we leave us, which leaves me time to deliver some wisdom. I don't have much. I'm trying to think of something, interesting. My wisdom is go do multi-class or go do endurance racing with your friends. That is my wisdom. And fortunately, that's all the wisdom I have to give. Here's a replay of that incredible finish. We can see three cars are going wild. GT3s are everywhere. Louis Kearton, rushing his way through the GT3 traffic. He saw a gap. He said, I'm going to go for it. But, he does misjudge it. And he kind of launches into the side of that BMW. But fortunately, nobody ended up backwards. And unfortunately for Milan van der Weyken, because Louis Kearton didn't go, he actually touches the back of Louis Kearton. And because Kearton kept it in a straight line, maybe used the BMW to slow down just a bit, that brought that race to an end. But what a fantastic finish. Kevin Boss, are you here to deliver me the results of Split 2? Could that be why you're here? Are you here to say hi?
was not expecting to talk at the moment, but
I know. I kind of.
I mean,
I had a feeling that that was exactly what was going on, but I was maybe hoping you had the results because I was not able to get them before the server closed. The important thing is, did you finish on the podium? Because I saw you were up there for a
I
little
finished
while.
third.
Let's go. That's good information. Do we know who won in each class at the very least?
So, oh, now I need to think. That's the difficult.
Uh oh. If the fire alarm starts going off, it's because there's smoke coming out of his ears because he has to think.
I could just quickly grab the replay.
That'll work as well. Well, I mean, I guess we'll take this opportunity, Kevin, to how did Split Two go? Because after all, we weren't able to watch it. I was giving updates here and there, but it seemed like there was a proper fight on for most of the fields.
This start was utterly chaotic. There was some,
Hmm.
yeah, massive door banging at the start. Caused me to have to go off track and then flat spot my front tires from the word go. So that first stint was something. Somehow got myself to P2, but then yeah, the guy in P3, um, Threadgill, he was too quick for me to hold back, and then yeah, he got second. And Nicholas Keller won in hypercar with me P3. Just give me a second for the
Absolutely.
GT3 podium. But
No, I
yeah,
appreciate you. You came in clutch for me.
a lot happened there, shall we say?
Well, I can promise you a lot happened in Split One as well. It certainly wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't a quiet race. Things sort of calmed down in the middle a little bit. There wasn't too much going on, but the finish was absolutely epic. There was some really good moments. The start was actually pretty calm. There was some door banging. There was a Lamborghini that ended up backwards. Um, but other than that, pretty calm, pretty good stuff.
So this I can say. So it was Rio who got P1, Emma Plata in P2, and I think if I go back far enough, I think it is for Hulst in P3 for the GT3 field.
Wonderful. And as I'm gonna drag him in now.
Bonjour.
It is our
Oh,
winner in
hi.
Split Two in the GT3 field. Welcome. Sorry, I just kind of ripped you in here. I wanted to get
Oh,
chatting since
that
I was
that's
talking with.
totally fine.
Yeah, congratulations on the victory in Split
Thank you.
Two. How
Thank
was
you.
your race? How'd it go? I mean,
Um,
obviously well, but yeah,
a,
how did
a
it go?
bit chaotic with the hypercar, but was fine. Not not bad. I had a bit of contact with the BMW. I don't think that was all my fault, but yeah, that's racing. So yeah, that was
Yeah,
fine. We had different strategy. They changed the tires. I didn't. So hey, was interesting.
right on. All right. Well, those of you in the GT3 field, um, where the word on the street is, at least at Silverstone, don't change your tires. It's faster.
No, I
My
didn't change the tires.
what was your chosen GT3 machine? What car were you driving?
No, I chose the Lexus.
Nice. I like the Lexus. I'll just be transparent
Yeah,
about
I
that.
love it. I
Big
love it.
fan of the Lexus. And
Don't
this
think it
is
was the
like
fastest here, but
it
I'm
seemed in there were a couple of them in the split one field, and they didn't seem to be making huge inroads. I think it was the Porsche was the pick.
yeah, the Porsche is very good.
There was a 1-2 for Iron Dames Porsches in our split, which as a pink car and an Iron Dames enthusiast,
Well
double
done.
thumbs up from the box there. But is so I believe this is at least the first time I've seen you or heard from you in RCI. If it isn't,
Yeah, it's the first
sorry.
time.
Well, then
The first
welcome.
time.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Are you looking to take the fight for the championship? Maybe are you feeling confident after the win in round one?
I think yes, I'm confident because I didn't train much. I had another event to prepare. So yeah, I think that was my worst track, and I'll be stronger in the next round.
Well, right on. I definitely will do my best to keep updated with split two while we're watching these races. So congratulations on your win. Any words of
Thank you.
wisdom? Anybody you wanna shout out before you go?
Sorry for the contact to Joe. I mean, we discussed about it, but sorry for the contact anyway. Was not my intention. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. Best of luck
Thank
in the
you.
next couple of rounds. Maybe we'll be
Thank
hearing
you.
from you again next week.
Yep, maybe. We'll see.
Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Malcolm. Any words of wisdom? Anything you guys want to say, or are you just here to shout at me once I'm done? I think they're here to shout at me once I'm done. Oh,
I
hi
just want
Malcolm.
hello. I just want to say that you did a great job today, and well done
Aw,
to everyone in Split One.
aw, he's so nice. He's so sweet. Are you why didn't we see you today, Matt? Or did we? Did we see you on circuit and I missed it? Or oh no, you
No,
were split
I was
two.
split two.
That's
Split
right.
two.
That's right. In my head, you're just like this mega quick guy. In my head, Matt, all you are the 4 hour of Silverstone where you were just the quickest human being in the wet, and that's like all I think of you. So I just assume you're the quickest human being around.
That really depends on depends on the conditions and the tires, of course. But no, it wasn't too bad for my race. P5 start, P5 finish. No complaints.
Wonderful. Well, any words of wisdom? Any facts of life? Anybody to shout out?
Shout out to everybody who's watching. Everyone is taking good part in this race or the season. Just have fun when you can.
Have fun when you can. I like that. I like that a lot. Well, thank you for stopping by, Mr. Malcolm. Best of luck next week. Best of luck in Split 2. Uh, Mr. Lee, believe I saw you unmute briefly.
That is me.
Mr. Lee's back. How about that
Okay.
finish? Can we just like sit on that for a minute?
Yeah, it was crazy. And what a win for Louis Kirton, I think, is the big thing here that we need to take away from it. Of course, Louis showed immediate aptitude in LMU even before the initial 1.0 release of LMU. And to get this is a huge win for Louis Kirton. And again, it all goes back to that pit stop, Jack. If Milan van der Voken would have done something different, if they would have come in at a more normal time instead of short pitting early, uh, coming in early, I don't know how that would have turned out. I don't know. Obviously, traffic came into a factor. We talked about it all race. After that, how much was that a risk? Turns out it was the ultimate risk.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Milan was probably certain that they had the pace to get that move back, and quite frankly, did get the move back before within the last sort of 15 minutes. But that one mistake, it let Kieran back through, and Kieran did not let go all the way to the end. But I think the pit stop was the ultimate doom. I would say probably an extra 10 seconds of fueling time there or thereabouts for Milan van der Weyken. So maybe it's a teachable moment, sort of something to think about for the rest of the season. This is only round one. After all, we do have another 5 rounds uh, coming through in this season. It will take us through the new year, and if round one was anything to go by, I think we have quite the season on our hands, don't we, Jesse?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if every race is going to come down, first of all, my heart's not going to be able to take it. But number two, we may have an incredible championship on our hands in both classes. Because keep in mind, it wasn't just the hypercars that had a changing of the guard late in the race. It was the LMGT3s as well. So all of that, I think we're in for one hell of a season.
Yeah, I could not say that better myself. And not only do we have the beginning of the multi sprint, we also have our Porsche Cup that is properly underway. We have our fourth round next week on Monday. And speaking of seasons and races not to miss, you gotta stop in for some Porsche Cup action. All 3 rounds have been absolutely brilliant in terms of racing action, in terms of, some world class drivers doing some world class stuff. Last week, Paul Ricard in the wet. Something I'll be thinking about well into my 30s for the next 10 plus years. I think it changed me as a man. And we have more of that action coming next week, as well as the continuing of the multi-sprint series, the one that you're here for right now. Every Friday, well, not every Friday, there's a Christmas break somewhere, a holiday break somewhere in the mix. But I believe, unless Jesse, do you have any final words of wisdom? Maybe a Jesse Lee quote of the day for us? I think we're just about to close this thing out. I think he fears the wisdom, rightfully so. I was properly putting him on the spot there. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here at RCI TV. Thank you for joining us for the opening round of the Multi-Sprint Series Season 4. Come over and join us in Discord. Join us on SimGrid if you're interested in joining in on the action. A wonderful community we have here. We'd be happy to have you. And if you're interested in getting involved on the more staff side of things, we are looking for commentators. We are looking for broadcasters, and we're always looking for new stewards. And if you're interested, head over to our Discord, hit the staff vacancies channel. You'll find instructions to apply to your chosen position. I've been Jack Mays, joined by Jesse Lee, with Ted Edwards on the cams. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you all soon.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and gears, hearts in sync. On the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye.